Now I know that that's very bad practice to carry the solder to the joint, but it's just the only way of doing this without having 14 different hands. So I'll come back once all these joints are made and just reflow them just to make sure. Now this one here will actually end up being attached to a wire that goes down to the next circuit board. So I'm just leaving it off to one side at the moment, because when these come through, I'm going to be able to bend over the corresponding lead, which is this one. There we go. Just wanted to get that twisted underneath that. Try and do the octopus thing. There we go, we're fairly central, which is good. Now we leave the tallest of these legs, but we can bend over this sort of middle pin. This is where it will get slightly awkward, because we need to bend it over in such a way that we can get it in and round the next. This will all make sense in a minute, hopefully. Just bend that over pretty much exactly on top of that. Let's see how we can solder this. You really do need 5 or 6 hands. Right. So we have a slight, what looks like a rat's nest or bird's nest going on here, but hopefully you can see that we have the outer anode connected of all 3 of these LEDs. Also, this little lead going down goes down to the same anode for these 3 down here. Okay, let's start with here. We've got the middle. I think that's the green. We'll see in a minute, because we'll test this to see if I've completely messed it up. But this is the green anode, goes through. As you can see, there's a joint there to go through down to these ones. It comes round, attaches for this one and also for this one. And then finally the blue. As we see, we've got it coming up from the very tip, soldered around onto this one, soldered onto this one, to there, to there, to there. So yeah, all three. Now, the moment of truth, we shall give it a test. Right, so we clip on to the common output, and so then we can hopefully, so this is the red, so hopefully we'll see the red. Let's bring that into view for you. So we got the red, the red, the red, and then the red. You can only just see it, it's quite dim. So that's red. This one hopefully should be green, which is a bit brighter. Green, green, and green, and then we should have three greens. Yep. And we go around to the blue. We do the same again. Blue, 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 and blue. Hooray! We got them right. So as convoluted as that was, no doubt I will speed that up in the editing, as that'll be a bit boring to watch in real time. And I probably will superglue, put a drop of superglue just in with these LEDs just to make sure that they're properly seated home. These will have each of these common cathodes, no, anodes, common anodes for the red, green and blue. We'll get a bit of wire stuck on or soldered onto them, and then the same for each of the four cathodes. So we're partway through soldering up and bending the leads on this base ring of the tip of the tower. And I just wanted to show you what I've been doing. As you can see, I've just been bending the leads over. The outer leads are only just long enough to bend over and go in a straight line. In fact, one or two I've had to add just a little extra piece there. But these other ones are long enough. As you can see, I haven't soldered these yet. Just bending them all into shape. And it just takes, on my pliers, it's just the tip of them. We just get them and just about, I don't know, 2.5, maybe 3 millimeters, and then tweak it round. Sometimes you have to give it an extra bit, and then you can just poke it into place, and as you can see, it's in the right place. And then we can just solder these up, being careful not to dwell for too long, because these are very close to the actual LED, so it's just long enough just to make the joint, as you can see there. As you can see on this one, just needs a wee bit of a tweak to the bend. I might be able to do this with my tweezers. These are quite stiff wires, so the tweezers may not. No, too much for the tweezers. As you can see there, one of the outer ones is broken free. go any further. Right. Yeah. Where was I? Right here. What do you say? We're not sitting together very long to get them tinned. You can come back and put your finger. Well, finishing that. Just have to make sure that you don't short out to the common cathode. Now with these innermost ones, we may not be able to hide these quite as well. My plan had to been to hide all the wiring, as you can see on this one that I've done. And on this one too. Basically from above you don't see any or much in the way of wiring, but unfortunately on this one I think it may be a little bit more visible. But there's nothing we can do about that. So for this middle one, I'm just creating this little, the bends at a bit of a spacing, just to allow a gap. So again, I'm just using my long nose pliers, gripping it, and then just bending it over. So I'll go around and do that on all of these. I'll set a consistent height, hopefully. Just try and get all of those bent up before trying to solder them. You sort of get into a bit of a rhythm with soldering. So. And that is that. So I'll just give this a bit of a test. Let's try first with the outermost. So, okay. So hold that in place. Yep. And then the top one. So, yep, all working. So now it's going to be on to assembling and adding wires onto all of these, and probably I'm going to add the wires on first of all,